What's up, YouTube? This is Duncan Trahan, or the Monk of the Magnolias. So I had some questions from some people about, well, I want to make a do-it-yourself dart. What's the weights? What should the length be? Have any tips for it? And I do. I've got 3 different RDA products to show you from the Rope Dart Academy. All 3 are different, but similar. So, we're going to start out with the basic Silk 2.0 dart. So this weighs about, I want to say 7 ounces. It's made of beans. It's not very dense. It's good for hitting yourself. That's why it's a practice dart. It's not going to hurt so much. Now, I will say from experience, these things moving, when they get moving, they'll hurt. Won't feel good at all. But it's not so bad as like a metal or even a cobra dart, which I'll show you shortly. The length you want is double your wingspan. So you want it to stretch from arm to arm, and you want it to hang down with this arm to about your ankle, just above the ground. What I like to do, because the RDA leashes, they come in one length, pretty long. So what you do is you make a little loop. See this loop? Tuck it through it. Put your wrist through there. Some people will wrap to the right length and then put another loop into it, like so, and it stays, doesn't come uncoiled, because if you just twist it on your wrist, it'll come undone as you're going. There's nothing you can do about it other than to use like a method like I just showed you. My personal method is I'll make the loop, make a loop like this, tuck the rope through it, second loop, third loop, and now I've got it at the length that I want it to be. It's controlled, and it's going to stay that way. Another question they asked me is, the thickness on the rope. Now, I'll admit, I'm a little spoiled now because I've been with the RDA for a little bit, and I like to use these silk leashes. They're flat, but they're wonderful, and they glide through your hands. Silk is amazing, because the thing is about the rope dart, even with these fancy silk leashes, you're going to get friction. It's going to burn you. You'll get friction burns in your arms. I've had them on my neck, and they look like hickeys. I've had them on my ankles, and pretty much everywhere the rope has made contact. But the most part, you're going to get it along here. Now, over time, a callus will build up on this, and that's called a dragon scale, or that's what we call it. But at first, you're going to get blisters, you're going to get burns, you'll get little bite marks from it. It's just part of it. It's part of learning. It's just a necessary sacrifice. You won't find skill without a sacrifice of pain. That's just how it is. Now, these silk leashes from the Rope Dart Academy, they're wonderful. Absolutely the best. Use my code monkdart, saves you 10%. But if you have something like a thick cotton rope or something, that works too. Now, the thicker the rope, the more likely it's going to cause some friction. Good way to test is kind of just slide it through your hands. Do something like a pendulum, where you're just back and forth, and really feel how the heat builds up and how it's going to feel on your hand, because when the dart's moving, it's going to do even more than what you're doing right here. But thickness matters, so does the texture of the rope. Silk obviously is going to be your smoothest, feel nicest, but something like a braided cotton rope works just as good, feels great. You want to avoid stuff like plasticky nylon and other abrasive materials like that, because if you can do this and it feels abrasive and scratchy, it's gonna be 10 times worse when the dart is in motion and moving with some velocity. It'll take your skin off. So you want to find something that's a little bit thinner, a little bit, softer. Now, on the issue of thinness, I will say there is a line. You want it to be thin, but you don't want it to be too thin. Paracord that you see a lot of times, say, wrapped on knives, for a basic beginner, okay, I need a dart, so I'm going to make something, I've got paracord on hand, it works. I don't like paracord. Paracord tends to be too thin and burns and leaves a lot of marks. It isn't fun. So you want something a little thicker than paracord, but not something, much thicker than around that or so. Wooden dowel rod size. And really, as you go on and as you experiment, you're going to find stuff that you like the most. For my money, my opinion, it's always going to be the RDA, Rope Dart Academy. I mean, they're the Rope Dart Academy. They make rope darts. They teach rope dart, so they know what they're talking about. They've got great products. You know, this silk dart, it's a wonderful thing. It's got this reinforced thing, so it keeps it from tearing, because as you use the dart, especially starting out, when you hit the ground, you're going to be, you know, damaging this and stuff. So you want something that can take a little bit of a force. I've seen people use tennis balls filled with pennies. I've seen people use a water bottle filled with dirt, and they kind of fix the rope under the cap. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but really, you just want to make sure that you get a nice rope that you like, that's going to not burn you so bad. You want it to the proper length of double your wingspan, so from arm to arm down to hang at your ankle. And then, you know, you want it to be around 5 to 7 ounces in weight. Too much, even a pound, that is a lot, because you have to consider the velocity that this stuff is moving. Puts a lot of force behind this. So a pound weight, that's something for like a meteor hammer. And don't get me wrong, I use some heavy darts, and a pound will crush your skull, breaks a lot of things. But you have to remember, you're learning, you're practicing. So something that heavy, it's gonna hurt when it hits you. And believe me, it's going to hit you. I've been hit in the face and the arms and the neck and the shins and the knees and the ankles. Those are some of the worst. And of course, I've been hit in the balls. That always sucks. So again, you want something 5 to 7 ounces starting out with. That seems to be the sweet spot when we're talking about weight. But remember, weight is only a factor. Density matters too. Because this is the same as this. And you can see they're different in size. This one's a little smaller, less thick, but the difference is this has beans in it. It's less dense, a little softer. This has BBs in it. It's essentially a blackjack on a rope. It hurts. It hurts a lot when it hits you and it's going really fast. It'll bloody your lip. It'll knock you down. It can hurt. And that is only because of the density of the weighting materials, because they are essentially both 5 to 7-ish ounces. I think they're both 7 ounces on these particular darts, but I know that they offer a range. But they're both this silk material, these beautiful patterns, same leash on both of them, so that's about the same, but the difference is the dart heads. So that is a question I do get asked a lot, is what's the difference between a cobra dart and a silk dart from the Rope Dart Academy? And that's pretty much what I've said. It's the density, it's the fact that this is beans and this is BBs. So hits a little harder, hits a little softer. This is better for beginners, and when you're learning, this is better for a little more advanced people. But if we're talking do it yourself, you just want something that is going to hold up, isn't going to be too heavy, and isn't going to just destroy you. I will say this about metal though, you learn a lot faster with metal, if only because of the threat of injury. However, there is a threat of injury, and it really can do some damage to you or your opponent, but especially you. That's the thing about a weapon like the rope dart or the meteor hammer, is that it takes a huge amount of skill to be proficient and useful with it, because you're just as much a danger to yourself as you are everyone around you when you're first learning. You will hit yourself, especially in the ankles, because footwork is so key, but it's also something that takes a little while to learn. You got to learn where your body is in relation to where the dart is spinning. And that's something that just comes with time. And part of that is hitting yourself. It's just kind of how you learn, like, okay, don't do that. The dart will teach you. Now, on the topic of metal, this is the Dragon's Tooth dart. If you've watched my content, you've seen me use it. It's a wonderful dart. Solid metal. And this thing hurts. It's not edged, it's blunt. But I promise you, when this thing hits you, and it will, when it hits you in the ankle or the knees, you will drop like a sack of rocks. I know from experience. Done it many times. It always sucks. But the kicker is, this dart, it's 5 ounces. So it weighs technically a little bit less than some of my other darts. Hurts the most, except for the ones that have an actual edge on them. And those are different. But, I mean, it's very important to realize the weight and kind of feel it out. So the sweet spot is going to be around 5 to 7 ounces. You want it to be a little less dense. You want it to be good materials that you can switch out, because over time you are going to burn through them. I mean, if you love something and you use it a lot, it's going to take some wear. The same's true with rope darts. Metal darts hold up a little bit better, but there's a lot more risk and they hurt a lot more. I really hope you guys found this video informative and helpful. If you have any other questions, shoot them in the comments. I'll make another video. I'll explain whatever you want to know. I love helping people. Anytime you've got questions or want to see something done, just get at me. I'm always happy to help, because we always get better together. Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe. My name is Duncan Trahan. I'm the Monk of the Magnolias. I'm with the Rope Dart Academy. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you.